We come to these places to give as dervishes so that people who come for whatever ails them, be it spiritual or mental or physical, whatever, so that they can receive the blessings that they need. Yunus, he was a great dervish. Now when we speak of all the other great Sufi saints, we always put Hazrat in front. You know, Hazreti Mevlana, Hazreti Abdul Qadir Geylani, but not for Yunus. We say our Yunus. He was a saint of the people, fully of the people. He traveled all over, from the Balkans to Azerbaijan, always reciting his poetry, and his poetry were all of them are powerful words for people to find themselves. There was a dervish who lived with his master in the Tekke, and when the time came, his master gave him ijazah and a donkey and said, go off and set up your own. And he didn't want to go, he didn't want to leave his master's side, but he had to follow instructions. So he left, but it was really sad. And the love that he had for his master, he exercised it with his donkey. Since the donkey was given to him by his master, he just loved that donkey like he loved his master. After some time traveling, his donkey fell ill and died. And he became devastated because that was his last connection with his master. And he dug a grave for it and buried it there and just sat by that grave and just cried and cried and cried. And there happened to be this bandit chief with his bandit followers that lived in those hills, in those mountains. And they came by him one day and they saw him sitting at that grave and just crying and crying. So they thought, surely it must be his master that died here, because he kept saying, oh, Efendim, 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 my master, my master. So they felt sorry for this poor dervish, so they built a shrine for him. And then people started stopping by the shrine and praying, and they would be healed of whatever illness they had. And so slowly it started getting really, the news started spreading everywhere, and more people were coming, and it was like full of always people coming to the shrine for healing, the shrine of this great master. And the poor dervish, he couldn't say anything because it was going to be really embarrassing, so he just stayed there and took care of the shrine and helped the people. Meanwhile, his master was getting older and was having some ailments, and no medicine was working. One of his dervishes said, well, I've heard of this shrine in the mountains of a great Sufi saint who was a healer, and people who go there get healed. Maybe we should go there too. And so the master says, okay, let's go. So they take off, and after a journey of a few weeks, they get to the shrine. And when they get to the shrine, he sees his dervish there. And when his dervish sees his master, he gets red in the face. He's so ashamed. And says, oh, so you found a good place to serve here. He says, yeah, master, this is the grave of the donkey that you gave me. Yeah. I'm so ashamed. He said, oh, don't be ashamed, son. Who do you think's buried in our shrine? Yeah. It's his father. The shrine derives its importance from the people who come to it. And I said earlier in the trip that we come to these places to give as dervishes, so that people who come for whatever ails them, be it spiritual or mental or physical or whatever, so that they can receive the blessings that they need. The lovers never die.